Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Rebecca and I am here today for a very special video, the first of my public collective YouTube readings videos. So strap in and we can dig into some cards together. This is the first time I'm doing this and I'm hoping that I enjoy it and I'm hoping that you enjoy it so it's something we can continue to do together. This is an idea I've been toying around in my head for a while, wanting to start doing some readings here in YouTube land, pick a card readings or just collective readings for the collective. And I was having trouble conceptualizing how I wanted to do it. And I've figured it out. And so here I am. And this first reading, as you can tell by the title, is for us to talk about the upcoming Aries season, the start of spring. And it just so happens that Ostara is just days away. So I grabbed some cards. Let me just adjust the camera. Sorry, I've got an Agni Manatite here, a big Labradorite, and a huge hunk of amber. And this candle here that you can see the base of is the candle for my guides and ancestors and such, asking them to be with me as I read these cards for us. I pulled out some cards from my Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. I will try to remember to link the deck down below in the cards or in the description box. And I pulled out the cards for our reading. So we're going to be looking at what the upcoming Aries season looks like. So we've got Aries. And the way to look at this, when I do professional readings with one-on-one clients, we connect this personally to their birth chart. However, we're doing a collective reading. So the way to look at this is to look at the elements of Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars. So we have the card for Mars. And the other things that connect Aries are the three, what are known as the three building blocks of the signs. Because Aries, like, there's signs that have similarities, but each sign is a specific combination of things of the three building blocks. 1, 2, 3. And the building blocks for Aries are, it is a cardinal sign. The cardinal signs, sorry, I'm just adjusting as we go because this is all new to me. The cardinal signs are the beginnings. They are what starts, their initiation energy. So for the Aries, if you look in this picture, it's like the spark. It's literally like lighting a match. It's the spark of something new. It's an initiation energy. Aries starts spring. It brings spring back. At least it does in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, Aries would bring the start of fall, I guess. Did I do that calculation right? If you're in the northern hemisphere, I hope so. Or if you're in the southern hemisphere, please let me know. I hope I did it right. I think so, because it's the opposite. So the opposite of spring is fall. But it's still an initiation energy. So that's the first building block. And this tells us something about Aries. Next is the fire. Aries is a fire element. So it brings those fiery qualities of passion and action and movement and being very, 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 very super fast. I have a Mercury in Aries. I talk fast. It kind of explains itself, at least to me. So this is the second building block of Aries. And the last building block of Aries is Yang. And this is traditionally what was called masculine. An important thing to note here, we do not subscribe to stereotypes. Everyone has both masculine and feminine energy in my belief system. And some people use more masculine or more feminine, or some people use both. It all depends. But I want you to take the stereotypes that get attached to masculine and feminine, and I want you to put those away because that's not what we're playing with right now. So at its core, masculine or yang energy, it's a more proactive energy. It's more expressive. It's more about action and doing and moving forward. Whereas the opposite yin energy is more passive, not in a bad way. It's just more calm, more steady, more supportive. So active and supportive are two of the keywords. And today we're looking at the active energy. And so what I do with these readings, because this is our first one, I'm going to explain it. I use my heavenly bodies, and this is the same process I do for my client readings when I work with astrological things like my month aheads and your head spread reading packages, those kinds of things. More details about those are at the end of this reading. This is how I build them. I pull the cards from the Heavenly Bodies astrology deck based on the astrology of whatever it is we're looking at to determine how many cards I'm going to pull from my Starseeker Tarot. And I always use my Starseeker Tarot with my Heavenly Bodies. And it's like they were meant to go together. So that's what this is, my Starseeker Tarot. So I'm going to go ahead and awkwardly try and shuffle this. I say awkwardly because it's hard to shuffle on this cloth. As we're shuffling, we're thinking and focusing about Aries, the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere, the beginning of fall in the southern hemisphere. I'm going to likely speak more to the northern hemisphere because that's where I am, so that's where my context lives. But it's not so much about spring, it's about the beginning of this turn of the wheel. And this turn of the wheel begins with fire. So we're looking at the things that we need that spark of passion for, that spark of... These cards can be so hard sometimes. That spark of inspiration, that spark of psychic fire, that spike of intuition in a way, an instinct and drive. All of these cardinal and fiery words that when you take these three and put them together, you get Aries. And so that's what we're focusing and thinking about. Because it didn't land in a clear place, and because the cardstock of this deck makes it hard to have clean jumpers, if something falls, I will put it back. If it falls on one of these cards clearly, then it will stay. Like that one. And that one. Otherwise, I'm just going to shuffle until it feels done. We're going to go with that. I mean, okay. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which in this deck is depicted as a spider on its web. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the Queen of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups overlaying between the two, the Queen of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. And we have the Seven of Pentacles. The first thing that springs to mind is something similar to what I was talking about with a client recently. And that's this idea that there's something about this Aries energy, this spark of fire, of passion, where sometimes the action involved in the Aries fiery season is processing. And it feels like kind of a lot to process. Like, I'm just going to move this Seven of Cups up so it's out of my way. Like, I feel like, at least for some of you watching, there's been a lot going on. The thing is, these three cards here all have something in common. And the thing they have in common is that, let me just make sure I'm in focus. There we go. The thing they have in common is that we can often get stuck focusing on the wrong, air quotes, the wrong thing, or focusing on the thing that's kind of keeping us in the place where we're at, right? In the Five of Pentacles, the idea is that just on the other side of where this person who is exhausted, who has stopped to rest, just on the other side of where they are, and this is physical exhaustion, right? It's the pentacles. It's our resources feel depleted and just gone. And literally just a step away is the salvation. That's kind of the general idea that comes with the Five of Pentacles. And the Ten of Swords, this person is feeling haunted by something, often by something in their own head, because it's the swords, and the swords are the suit of air, right? And the air suit is all about how we think, how we communicate, our wavelength, that kind of airy stuff. So in the Ten of Swords, the person is haunted, like something, it's that feeling like something's there. Kind of like when you're sitting alone and you have that feeling like you're being watched. But in reality, there's a certain amount, only a certain amount. I will remind you all here that I am wholeheartedly an advocate of, like, I struggle with mental health, right? It's only a certain amount. Still, there's a certain amount of it where our brain is making it worse. We're going to come back to that. And I know that's a tricky concept, so just stay with me and we'll come back to that. So the Ten of Swords, the person is focusing on, they're focusing on kind of their experience instead of maybe looking at their perception of things and looking at the reality of the situation and stuff like that. But like I said, we'll come back to that. And then here, the Seven of Cups, this person is looking up at the cup with the snake into the darkness instead of looking to the light. That's the classic. So all three of those cards have a layer of, showing how our perception really changes things. For some of us, we have this wheel here. So for some of us, that means there's going to be big shifts going on. And I feel like it feels like we're trying to get through the Seven of Cups energy, the Five of Pentacles energy, and the Ten of Swords energy so we can achieve the Queen of Wands energy and the Seven of Pentacles energy. And in this case, the wheel feels like a reminder, because one of the biggest lessons of the wheel that sticks out to me is that there's no controlling this bitch. We're just along for the ride and off it goes, right? Like, the myth of the Wheel of Fortune is you can expect that you don't know what you'll be able to expect. You can expect the unexpected. You can trust that at some point that wheel's going to turn down, and at some point that wheel's going to turn back up. Where a lot of people get the Tower card when something dramatic and very hard in their life happens, I don't get that. I don't get the Tower card for that. I get the Wheel. So the Wheel very much is a card that honestly scares me sometimes when it comes out. This picture, not as much. But it also, it also helps me to, it's all about perspective. A lot of this feels like it's all about that shifting perspective, right? Because the best example I can think of this kind of energy I'm getting from this reading is if you decide I need a mental health day, right? You decide you need a day off to just rest, whether it's for your mental health or your physical health, doesn't matter. You just decide you need a day off. And then your day off happens, and instead of relaxing, instead of saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself this day to relax, there's a tendency to lay there on the couch and think, oh, I have to do the dishes. Oh, the house really needs to be cleaned. Oh, I should really do this. Oh, I'm home, so I really should do this and this and this. And it's this suffering culture that we live in, because let's be real, that's what we're in. We're in a culture of suffering constantly. And it's bullshit, and I'm tired of it. And the thing is, at the end of that mental health day, if all you've done is sit there and think about all the things you should be doing, you won't fully be able to bring yourself back down to a zero neutral point, so that way the next day you feel better. Until that, whatever it is that is causing difficulty, until whatever it is that's causing difficulty clicks in your brain, and you are able to learn how to relax into the things that you are trying to do, to give yourself a break, to relax, to lean into the self-care, like the day off. It's not going to fill your bucket the same way. And I know, speaking from direct personal experience here, I know that's a lot easier said than done. I struggle with it every single day. So I promise I'm in this boat right here with you. What's really interesting also is that this Seven of Cups came out trying to cover the Queen of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. So the Seven of Cups is kind of an obstacle. And what's really interesting on the imagery is one of the cups off in the darkness is the Queen of Wands, and one of the cups off in the darkness is the Five of Pentacles. So there's kind of like a fork in the road kind of energy going on here. It kind of like a choose your own adventure. Where do you want to end up? The funny thing is, though, that based on that, the Queen of Wands is not found through the path of the light cup. So again, we're challenging our perspectives. Our perspectives naturally is to look at this card and see the dark cups and the snake and go, oh, we don't want those cups. Those aren't where we want to go. And yet, here's the Queen of Wands off of this cup in the darkness. It's like when we demonize goddesses like Lilith, Medusa, Hel, Hecate. All of these things have all been demonized. Cups, wands, swords, pentacles. We have one of each element again. I say again because I'm filming this on the 18th, the night of the Virgo full moon, and we have one of each element, including a major, which just happened in my Virgo full moon reading. So whatever this thing is that you watching this are struggling with, because this does feel like a struggle, whatever it is that you're turning over in your head, that you're thinking about, it's important for you to know that despite how it may seem, it's not just confined to the one area of your life. Oftentimes we'll be struggling with something like the 10 of Swords, and we'll think when I go out, I have it all together and everyone thinks I'm fine. When really, the message in this is that we don't have it as together as we seem. It's like I was saying to my spouse about myself, and this feels like the same kind of message. And I think it's not just for me, I think it's for some of you watching. It's like you put on a mask, sure. It's not an effective mask, though. It's not actually covering who you are. It's cracked. And the light of who you are, the dark of who you are, and I don't mean dark in a bad way because we love the dark here. I mean just like dark. The things that you might demonize and villainize about yourself, the things you might love about yourself and yet still hide about yourself, those things that are hiding behind that mask, they're shining through the cracks and everyone can see them, except the wearer of the mask can't see that the mask is cracked and that they're shining through it anyways. So they keep wearing the mask expecting to gain different results, when in reality, everyone can see through the mask. And so we end up in this weird space where it's like we end up in this weird space where a lot of people might say we're trying too hard, right? Because we're holding up this mask, but we're leaking through the mask anyways. So it's like the mask isn't effective. It's not convincing. It's not doing its job. It's not hiding us. It's making us seem in a way more fractured and more, what's the word? I don't know. The name Denny just popped into my head. It's making us seem more fractured and more unsure, more like we don't know who we are, when in reality, I think a lot of us do know who we are. We're just afraid to show it. And the thing about Aries season is, Aries is fire, and fire wants to be seen. It wants to burn brightly. And Aries is the start of the zodiac, so in a lot of ways it's said to be the most immature sign. And sure, it technically could be seen as having a younger energy, but it's that kind of youthfulness. A lot of people downgrade it and say it's not good. I feel like a lot of us have been struggling and are struggling. And we're struggling with the masks. We're struggling with the ways in which we hide ourselves and the ways in which we, by hiding ourselves, stop ourselves from being able to change our perspectives. There are certain things we can't change for sure, but I'm a big proponent of I believe that human beings are constantly giving away the power we do have in order to fight for power that we will never be able to obtain. So, for example, the people who fight to have power over others, as a result, are in some ways giving up some power they have on themselves, because instead of spending energy worried about and attending to their own stuff, they're taking the power of that energy and that time and that attention and heart, and they're putting it into worrying about other people and how they live their life, when the other people living their life has no direct impact on that first person. So it's a giving away. Humans are great at giving away a power that we do have because we're trying so desperately to clutch and to grab and to get a power that is never ours to begin with. I don't even remember why I thought to say that. Yeah, it's just gone. So if that was a direct message for you, if you're watching this and you're like, whoa, shit, if that was a direct message for you, feel free to let us know in the comments down below. You don't have to. But I seriously don't even remember what I was saying that led me to that thought. That was really, really, really weird. I think what the wheel and these other cards here, the Queen of Wands with the Seven of Pentacles, the more quote unquote positive cards, and it just so happens in this case they feel more positive, right? The energy I'm feeling from them is positive. Because I don't read reversals and like I don't shuffle in reversals. I read the cards and sometimes they read shadowy and sometimes they read lighty. These are reading lighty, using my super official word there. I feel like the message is that a lot of us are stuck in the thinking that the wheel is down and will always be down. And that makes a lot of sense, especially if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, especially if you live in a place that has long winters that are struggling to end at this moment. They're trying to hold on and you're like, fuck off, give me my sun already. Well, it can get very easy at times to forget that one day the wheel will turn back in our favors. And one day things will seem bright again. I think the takeaway of this is a shift in thinking that will allow us to better take care of, because if you look at it, all of these cards are technically down here. I just keep putting the Seven of Cups up beside the wheel so that way I can see them all and look at the pictures and kind of get my juices flowing. But if you look at it up here, the things you have at the top are the wheel, the major arcana, the spirit card, and the swords, which is the mental realm. And this is the Ten of Swords. So it's like our minds and our spirits are broken right now, or they're feeling broken. And because they are, until we remember that this wheel, yes, we are at its mercy to the way the wheel turns in a way. We can't stop the seasons from shifting. We can't stop time from moving forward. But the moment we recognize that we can't stop time, that's the moment we become empowered, right? This is again that what I was saying. I remembered some of it. This is what I was saying, like humans fighting for power we can't have. Humans are constantly fighting for the power to stop time and to change time and to change the natural cycles of life, which we can't do. And so what happens is humans spend all their energy often worried about the fact that there is death and there is famine and there's plague and there's all these hard things that we cannot prevent even if we try. So much so that we stop moving and we stop living. And then even when the wheel turns up, we find it harder to recognize the sun, to recognize the beauty. And I feel you. I've been stuck here before and like have been recently. So it's like our spirits are broken and our minds are broken. And the reminder is that down here, until until we sort this out, it's like we can't fix this stuff going on down here. We can't fix the emotional stuff going on. And we can't, until we fix the emotional stuff going on, we can't access this passion. And we can't address the physical realm that is causing difficulties, or that we're experiencing difficulties in. Not all difficulties can be fixed. Sure. Some people will live in physical pain no matter what. And a lot of people live in poverty. I'm one of them. I make over $10,000 less than what is considered comfortable living for my area. And we all know those stats of what is considered comfortable living are bullshit, and they're well below what is actually comfortable. It's just like, this is like manageable. It's tolerable. I am well below poverty lines. It's a matter of whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. If you believe you can't fix your situation, you're right. If you believe you can fix your situation, you're right. Can you always get to this ideal? No. Can you cure the things that are ailing your body that you wish weren't? No, not necessarily. Some people would say you can. I think it's a case-by-case basis. The one thing we can control 100% in this life is how we react to things, how we react to our mind, how we react to our spirit, how we react to our body, how we react to our inspiration, how we react to our emotions. But those things don't come easy. They come with practice. They come with patience. They come with major struggle. And it's like, we have to, because we have a broken spirit and a broken mind right now, we have some emotional shit we have to realign. And the emotional shit makes it so we can take a look at the Five of Pentacles. Where is it that help might be there readily available for us that we can reach? What are the things that we can't do? You know, it's like a reassessment. And then once we look at that and address, even if it's just the feeling that we don't have enough, that's when we start to be able to access the Queen of Wands. And the Seven of Pentacles is really interesting because it's an earth card with the visual of pouring water into it. So I think overall what's being said here is that it's a reminder that we're not powerless beings. And we're not it's a spark of hope. It's that reminder we wait for each year to tell us that the wheel will turn and things will get better. The sun will come back. I feel like there's a lot of shifts in perspective happening this month, or going to be happening. I feel like perhaps some of you have already shifted a lot in your perspective, and this month you're now processing through what has shifted. So that way you can move forward and make sense of it. I feel like sometimes there's been shifting, there will be shifting. there's new seeds being planted so they can be sown. This would also imply to me that the new moon could be a really good, important new moon to plant some intentions, right? Because we've got the pentacles acting as seeds here. I have no clue if any of that made any sense to anybody. And it's hard to do pre-recorded readings because there's no one to tell you if what you're saying makes sense. But I'm just going to try it anyways. And I'm going to just end it with a couple of big, important notes. One, I forgot to tell you at the beginning, I give very blunt readings. Sorry. It is what it is. This is how I read. Two, if you are a person watching this who has felt like you are struggling, I want you to know that you are not alone. And you don't, whatever it is that you're carrying, you don't have to be alone while you carry it. It doesn't mean someone else has to carry it for you, but someone can sit with you while you carry it. Someone can help you carry it. Someone can just be there to encourage you, to fortify your strength, and that you can do this, because you can. You can. And please, if you're watching this and you have been struggling and are struggling, please reach out for help, because it's out there and everyone deserves help. And then the last big disclaimer is, I know I've said some challenging thoughts. And I want to just say very clearly at the end that I am extremely well aware of how capitalism and the patriarchy and all of these things screw us over day in and day out and make it extremely hard to feel like we can make a difference and to feel like we can keep going. It's exceedingly difficult. It just also happens that I believe that one of the best ways we can fight against these things is to believe first that we can change things. Because if we don't believe that we can change things, nothing will ever change. Someone has to stand up and say that they believe things can change in order to even begin the road towards that change to begin with. And I believe that it seems so small, but I truly believe that this is how we fight to get out of this mess that the past generations have created that we are now stuck in. I believe we fight to get out of this mess by shifting our perspectives, by opening our minds to the potential that maybe, just maybe, there's much more possibility than previous generations would have us believe. I believe the way we think shapes our whole world, and that shapes how we act, and how we act shapes others. We always lead by example. So I can tell you that I have a lot of work to do in this area for myself. This actually was one of the main cards in my full moon reading. So I'm actually working on this shit myself. And frankly, I'm fucking tired of it, because it feels so much like in this capitalist world, as soon as it feels so much like as soon as you start to take 2 steps forward, you get flung 10 steps back. And oftentimes it feels like we're stuck in a position where we have no choice but to take those steps backwards. I don't know about you. I can't keep taking steps backwards. If I'm going to be stuck suffering, no matter what, I would rather suffer through the things that are worth suffering over, like my work. And this is part of this message too. I would rather, chances are, if I get a traditional job, I would be suffering. I still wouldn't be making enough money. I would still be struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. I would still be in the exact same position I'm in now. So why would I throw away the thing I love that I do? Why would I throw away all the progress I've made just for the potential that over there, maybe that will be the miraculous thing to fix things? Why would I throw away the thing I love to fight for a different thing that I guarantee you is going to lead to more suffering, and in some ways worse suffering? I have an upper hand. So why would I throw it away? I could suffer in a traditional job where I'm mentally, emotionally, and spiritually miserable, and I could suffer financially through that, or I could suffer financially and work hard and fortify my strength, like I was saying, to build up my work, which I love, which nourishes my soul, which nourishes my heart, my spirit. If the card is financial suffering, why wouldn't we suffer in the way that brings us the most joy? In the example of myself, why wouldn't I suffer and work hard to make my work that I love work for me? That was a lot of work in one sentence. Why wouldn't I do that? Isn't that the better option? Isn't the better option to understand and accept that it will be a fight and it will be a struggle and there are countless odds stacked against you, and it is still possible to fight and struggle and get through those odds with things you love, as opposed to constantly putting your life on the back burner thinking, well, I struggle now so that way I can live later. When that later is not guaranteed, we don't know how that wheel is going to turn. I hope any of that made sense, but my point is, I guess there's more message. The point is, though, I'm very, very, very well aware of capitalism and the odds stacked against us. I just believe there's a different way to do it than the way the generations before us have showed us how. And I don't know about you all, but I'm fucking tired of being fine, just fine. I want to be fantastic. I want to be spectacular. I want to be fierce. I hope that some of this made sense for you. And that I hope that I explained myself well. I get nervous reading for new people because I believe in some things that people would tell me I'm wrong for, and you know, so I hope it made sense. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked this reading. Please be gentle. If any of it resonated with you and you feel like sharing, you can let me know of that too. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. It is a huge, 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 huge help. And if you do like my style of reading, if you like the idea of building a reading around astrology and using tarot to explore it, then check out my services linked down below in the Calendly link, because if you want to check out my new monthly predictions, you can get one of these personalized to you, where we take the Aries season, and instead of looking at the generic building blocks of Aries, we look specifically at Aries in your chart and all these extra astrological layers of goodness. So if that interests you, the link is down below. And I have space also for a few more people who might want year ahead spread. So if you want a year ahead spread reading, that is done in the package. And the package means, like, the difference between the year ahead spread and the monthly reading is in the year ahead spread, you get an additional layer, because we pull all 12 cards for the next year from whenever you start it. And then each month we meet when your finances allow, to dig deeper into that month and find out some more about it. The year ahead spread package, I don't interpret all 12 cards at once. We just pull them all and we look at the overall themes. And then each month when you're able, we look at that specific month's card and pull some cards based on your astrology to look more closely. And so the year ahead spread gives you an extra layer, whereas the monthly prediction, you don't have the additional layer of me having pulled 12 cards for you and being able to look at longer yearly based patterns, right? So those things are in the description box below. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed Ostara. I'm sorry it's late and my mind is blanking, but Southern Hemisphere folks, I hope you enjoy your holiday that you have that is the opposite of Ostara. Oh, I think it's Mabon. I think. And happy Easter for those who celebrate it. Enjoy your spring or your fall. I hope this new Aries season treats you wonderfully. And if y'all like this, I will see you again next month for Taurus season. Lots of love. Bye.